Welcome to another episode of True Crime Case Files, where we delve into the darkest mysteries and unravel the truth behind heinous crimes. In today's episode, we explore the chilling case of mistaken identity that resulted in a tragic and senseless murder. Set in Jacksonville, Florida, in August of 1986, this story will unravel the shocking events that unfolded and the lives forever altered by a grave mistake. Thomas Daniels, a well-respected member of the community, was the unfortunate victim of this tragic tale. At the tender age of 32, Thomas was a devoted husband and father of two, renowned for his unwavering faith and commitment as a youth pastor at the local church. Residing in a peaceful suburban neighborhood in Jacksonville, Florida, Thomas was adored by his neighbors and cherished by his friends and his wife, Janice. His sole aspiration was to make a positive impact on the lives of the young individuals he mentored, guiding them towards a brighter future. Until one fateful August day, when Thomas's routine existence was abruptly shattered. Then, the sun beat down relentlessly on the streets of Jacksonville as the city buzzed with life. The air was thick with humidity, mirroring the tension that would soon engulf the community. Little did Thomas know that his life was about to take an unexpected turn. On a scorching summer day in Jacksonville, Florida, on August 3rd, 1986, tragedy struck the quiet suburban neighborhood where Thomas Daniels, a devoted 32-year-old husband and father of two, resided. Engrossed in his routine task of mowing the front lawn, little did Thomas know that this mundane chore would be his last. The sweltering sun beat down mercilessly, casting long shadows across the neatly manicured lawns. The air was thick with humidity, making it difficult to breathe. As Thomas pushed the lawnmower back and forth, the sound of cicadas filled the air, creating a symphony of summer. It was a typical Sunday afternoon, with neighbors going about their own business, unaware of the impending tragedy. Suddenly, the tranquility was shattered by the sound of 4 gunshots, echoing through the neighborhood like thunderclaps. Thomas, caught off guard, stumbled and fell to the ground, blood staining the freshly cut grass. The assailant, hidden within the confines of a passing vehicle, vanished into the distance, leaving behind a cloud of dust and confusion. It was Patty Lastmere, a concerned neighbor, who stumbled upon the horrifying scene. Startled by the sudden commotion, she rushed to her window, only to witness the life of a beloved community member being mercilessly snuffed out. Fear and panic gripped her as she dialed 911, struggling to find the right words to convey the urgency of the situation. Within minutes, the sound of sirens pierced the air as police cars and ambulances descended upon the quiet suburban street. The once peaceful neighborhood now buzzed with activity as law enforcement officers cordoned off the area, collecting evidence and interviewing witnesses. News of the shocking incident spread like wildfire, capturing the attention of local media outlets, who were quick to arrive on the scene. As the investigation unfolded, the community was left grappling with a multitude of questions. Who would want to harm Thomas Daniels, a man known for his unwavering faith and dedication to his role as a youth pastor? Was this a case of mistaken identity or a targeted attack? The tight-knit neighborhood, once filled with trust and camaraderie, now found itself shrouded in fear and suspicion. The tragic murder of Thomas Daniels in the summer of 1986 sent shockwaves through the community, forever altering the lives of his family, friends, and neighbors. The search for answers would prove to be a daunting task, as detectives meticulously pieced together the fragments of this chilling crime. In the coming days, the true motive behind this senseless act would slowly come to light, revealing a web of secrets and deception that would leave the community reeling. In the wake of the tragic murder of Thomas Daniels, the Jacksonville Police Department sprang into action, determined to bring the perpetrator to justice. Lead investigator Detective Roscoe and his team embarked on a painstaking journey to unravel the mysteries surrounding this heinous crime. Arriving at the crime scene, the detectives were met with a chilling sight. The once serene suburban neighborhood was now a hive of activity as police cars lined the streets and reporters from local news stations clamored for information. The air hung heavy with anticipation as the community grappled with the shock of a murder in their midst. The detectives meticulously combed through the evidence, leaving no stone unturned. The crime scene, Thomas's front lawn, bore the scars of the brutal act. Blood stained the grass, a stark reminder of the violence that had shattered the tranquility of this close-knit community. As they collected evidence, the detectives discovered a crucial clue, a spent shell casing from a firearm. This discovery confirmed their suspicions that the murder was premeditated. With this information in hand, they scoured the area for any witnesses who might have seen or heard something that could lead them closer to the truth. The investigation took the detectives on a journey through the lives of Thomas Daniels and those who knew him. They interviewed his family, friends, and colleagues, piecing together a portrait of a man dedicated to his faith and his community. Thomas's work as a youth pastor at his local church had touched the lives of many, and his loss was deeply felt. As the days turned into weeks, the media frenzy surrounding the case intensified. Local newspapers, such as the Florida Times-Union, dedicated coverage to the murder, urging the public to come forward with any information that could aid the investigation. Television news stations, like WJXT Channel 4, featured updates on the case, keeping the community informed and engaged. Despite the tireless efforts of Detective Roscoe and his team, progress in the case was slow. The identity of the killer remained elusive, leaving the community on edge. Fear and suspicion hung in the air, as residents locked their doors and kept a watchful eye on their surroundings. As the investigation into the tragic murder of Thomas Daniels continued, the focus of suspicion shifted towards his wife, Janice Daniels. Startling revelations emerged, revealing that Janice had been engaged in an illicit sexual affair with none other than Edna Hampton, a 78-year-old librarian who also attended the same church as the couple. The discovery of this secret relationship raised questions about Janice's potential motive for the heinous crime that had taken her husband's life. In the intense and relentless pursuit of the truth, the police subjected Janice to a series of grueling interrogations. The atmosphere in the interrogation room was tense, as detectives sought to unravel the complex web of emotions and motivations that could have driven Janice to commit such a horrific act. Janice's responses to the relentless questioning varied, oscillating between anger, confusion, and vehement denial. She adamantly maintained her innocence, vehemently refuting any involvement in her husband's untimely demise. Her emotions ran high as she struggled to comprehend the accusations being hurled at her, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and defiance. In an attempt to corroborate their suspicions, investigators delved into Janice's personal life, meticulously sifting through her phone records, personal belongings, and correspondence. The search yielded a trove of evidence, including sexually explicit letters exchanged between Janice and Edna, providing a glimpse into the clandestine nature of their relationship. The letters were filled with passionate declarations and promises of a life together, painting a picture of a forbidden love that had consumed both women. The investigators, driven by a relentless pursuit of justice, also uncovered a series of clandestine meetings between Janice and Edna, meticulously documented in photographs taken by a private investigator hired by Thomas Daniels. These photographs, capturing stolen moments shared between the two women, served as a chilling reminder of the depths of deception that had permeated the couple's seemingly idyllic life. As the investigation continued to unfold, the media covered the case, hungry for every detail. Newspapers carried updates, television channels featured dramatic reenactments, and radio talk shows dissected the crime. The community, once united in grief, now found themselves divided by the shocking revelations that had come to light. In this small suburban neighborhood of Jacksonville, Florida, where tragedy had struck on that fateful August day in 1986, the lives of Thomas Daniels, Janice Daniels, and Edna Hampton had become intertwined in a web of secrets, lies, and devastating consequences. The search for the truth would continue, as investigators meticulously pieced together the puzzle of mistaken identity and the tragic events that had unfolded. In a shocking twist of fate, the investigation into Thomas Daniels' murder took an unexpected turn when another individual, Jeffrey Wharton, narrowly escaped a similar fate. Jeffrey, a 34-year-old man leading a double life as a porn star under the stage name Mikey Barona Cox, had a troubled past that had brought him face to face with danger. Jeffrey's life was a roller coaster ride of addiction and illicit activities. With a monthly cocaine habit that cost him a staggering $10,000, he found himself entangled in a web of deceit and danger. It was this dangerous path that eventually led him to the brink of tragedy. On a sweltering August day in 1986, as the sun beat down on Jacksonville, Florida, Jeffrey's life hung in the balance. Investigators, already reeling from the shocking murder of Thomas Daniels, noticed a striking resemblance between Jeffrey and the late victim. This uncanny similarity raised suspicions that the two incidents were somehow connected. Desiree Lachlan Rue, Jeffrey's on-and-off girlfriend and a star stripper at a local establishment, found herself thrust into the spotlight as a person of interest in the investigation. The police, desperate for answers, interrogated Desiree, hoping to uncover the motive behind the attempted murder. The investigation revealed that Jeffrey's dangerous lifestyle had made him enemies in the seedy underbelly of the city. Rumors swirled about unpaid debts, rivalries, and a network of drug dealers who had a vested interest in silencing him. The police dug deep, following leads and piecing together a complex puzzle of lies, deceit, and desperation. As the investigation intensified, the media interest surrounding the case increased. Local newspapers, such as the Florida Times-Union, plastered their pages with headlines about the shocking murder of Thomas Daniels and the attempted murder of Jeffrey Wharton. Television news broadcasts, like those on WJXT Channel 4, dedicated airtime to the case, speculating on the motives and possible suspects. The city of Jacksonville, already grappling with a rising crime rate, was gripped by fear and uncertainty. Residents locked their doors, fearful that a killer was on the loose. The streets buzzed with speculation, as neighbors whispered to each other, sharing their theories and suspicions. As the investigation continued, the police were determined to bring the culprits to justice. They tirelessly pursued every lead, leaving no stone unturned in their quest for the truth. The fate of Jeffrey Wharton hung in the balance, as the police raced against time to unravel the web of intrigue that surrounded him. The relentless pursuit of justice by the police in the chilling case of mistaken identity took a significant turn on the night of August 17, 1986, in Jacksonville, Florida. As the oppressive heat of the Florida summer mirrored the intensity of the investigation, new evidence emerged, shedding light on the dark secrets surrounding the murders of Thomas Daniels and the attempted murder of Jeffrey Wharton. The breakthrough came in the form of a firearm, a crucial piece of evidence that connected the two seemingly unrelated incidents. The gun, a Smith & Wesson Model 686 revolver, was recovered from a pawn shop in downtown Jacksonville. It had been sold to the shop by a man named Daryl Creasland, a known associate of Desiree Lachlan Rue, the on-and-off girlfriend of Jeffrey Wharton. Detective Roscoe and his team meticulously analyzed the gun, searching for any clues that could lead them closer to the truth. They discovered that the firearm had been recently purchased by Creasland, who claimed to have found it abandoned in a wooded area outside the city. However, further investigation revealed that Creasland had a criminal record and was known to associate with individuals involved in illicit activities. The investigators delved deeper into Creasland's connections and discovered a web of deceit and betrayal. They learned that Creasland had ties to a local drug ring, which operated out of a seedy nightclub called the Inferno. The club, known for its wild parties and illicit activities, had become a hub for drug trafficking in the area. The police intensified their efforts to bring the culprits to justice, focusing on gathering concrete evidence to link Creasland and Lachlan Rue to the crimes. They meticulously analyzed phone records, surveillance footage, and witness testimonies, connecting the dots and building a solid case against the individuals involved. With the newfound evidence in hand, suspicion turned towards Desiree Lachlan Rue as the potential mastermind behind the chilling crimes that had rocked the community. Desiree, a 28-year-old woman with a captivating personality, was no stranger to the seedy underbelly of Jacksonville. Known for her involvement in the many strip joints that dotted the city, she had a reputation that raised eyebrows among law enforcement. The police intensified their interrogation of Desiree, determined to unravel the truth behind her possible involvement. They delved deep into her past, meticulously examining every aspect of her life. From her childhood in the working-class neighborhood of Riverside to her tumultuous relationships with various individuals, no stone was left unturned in their quest for answers. As the questioning intensified, Desiree's emotions fluctuated between anger and fear. She vehemently maintained her innocence, her voice shaking as she denied any involvement in the crimes. The police pressed on, presenting her with the mounting evidence against her. Desiree's alibi for the night of Thomas Daniels' murder crumbled under scrutiny. Witnesses came forward, placing her near the scene of the crime. The police discovered that she had a history of violence, having been involved in multiple altercations at the strip joints where she worked. These incidents, previously overlooked, now took on a new significance as investigators connected the dots. In a shocking turn of events, new witnesses came forward, shedding light on Desiree's possible motive. It was revealed that Thomas Daniels had been counseling a troubled teenager whose life had spiraled out of control due to drug addiction. This teenager, known as Billy Constable, had a connection to Desiree. The police discovered that Desiree had been supplying Billy with drugs, creating a web of dependency that had ensnared both of their lives. As the investigation pushed forward, the police were determined to bring justice to the victims and their families. The community rallied behind them, eager for closure and the restoration of their sense of security. The case of a tragic and senseless murder was slowly unraveling, with Desiree Lachlan Rue at the center of the storm. The shocking truth behind the tragic case of mistaken identity was finally uncovered, revealing the chilling details of a crime that shook the community of Jacksonville, Florida, in August of 1980. After an exhausting 1986, after a journalistic investigation, it was revealed that Daryl Creasland, a small-time crook with aspirations of becoming a hitman, was the perpetrator behind the senseless murder. Daryl had been hired by Desiree Lachlan Rue, a well-known figure in the local strip joint scene, to carry out a hit on Jeffrey Wharton, a man leading a double life as a porn star under the name Mikey Barona Cox. However, in a tragic twist of fate, Daryl mistook Thomas Daniels, a respected youth pastor and devoted family man, for his intended target. The details of Daryl's planning and execution of the murder were uncovered by the diligent work of the police investigators. It was revealed that Daryl had been tracking Jeffrey's movements for weeks, gathering information about his routines and habits. He had even staked out the suburban neighborhood where Jeffrey lived, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. On that fateful day, as the sun beat down on the quiet streets of Jacksonville, Daryl spotted a man mowing his lawn, believing it to be Jeffrey. Without hesitation, he opened fire, unleashing a barrage of bullets that ended the life of Thomas Daniels, an innocent victim caught in the crosshairs of a deadly mistake. The aftermath of the murder sent shockwaves through the community, leaving Thomas's family and friends devastated. The news of the tragic incident spread, capturing the attention of local media outlets such as the Florida Times-Union and WJXT News 4 Jax. The senseless nature of the crime and the mistaken identity aspect gripped the public's attention, sparking discussions about the dangers of hiring hitmen and the devastating consequences that can arise from such actions. The arrest of Daryl Creasland brought a sense of relief to the community, knowing that the perpetrator had been brought to justice. His facade of invincibility shattered, Daryl faced the consequences of his heinous act. The victim's family, although forever scarred by the loss of their loved one, found solace in the fact that justice would be served. The trial of Daryl Creasland, the man responsible for the tragic case of mistaken identity that resulted in the senseless murder of Thomas Daniels, reached its climax in a Jacksonville courtroom in September of 1986. The proceedings were presided over by Judge Robert Capocella, a respected figure known for his fair and impartial rulings. The prosecution, led by Prosecutor Dean Leesblund, presented a meticulously constructed case against Daryl. They called upon a series of witnesses, including Detective Roscoe, the lead investigator who tirelessly worked to unravel the truth behind the crime. Detective Roscoe testified about the painstaking process of collecting and analyzing evidence, highlighting the crucial breakthrough that led to Daryl's identification as the murderer. The defense attorney, Michael Friars, fought vigorously to cast doubt on the evidence presented by the prosecution. He argued that there were inconsistencies in the testimonies of some witnesses and questioned the reliability of certain pieces of physical evidence. Friars attempted to paint Darrell as a pawn in a larger conspiracy, suggesting that he had been coerced into committing the crime. The victim's family, seated in the front row of the courtroom, listened intently to every word spoken during the trial. Thomas's wife, Janice Daniels, clad in a somber black dress, held tightly onto her two young children, Leah and Gregory, their innocent faces reflecting the pain and loss they had endured. The courtroom was filled with a palpable sense of grief and tension, as the community came together to seek justice for their beloved neighbor, friend, and youth pastor. The trial lasted for several weeks, with each day bringing new revelations and emotional testimonies. The media, including local news outlets like the Jacksonville Gazette and the Florida Times-Union, followed the proceedings, providing daily updates to the audience. Finally, after hours of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict. Darrell Creasland was found guilty of first-degree murder. The courtroom erupted in a mix of relief and sorrow, as the victim's family and friends found solace in the fact that justice had been served. Judge Caposella, in a solemn tone, delivered the sentencing, ensuring that Darrell would spend the rest of his life behind bars, never again able to cause harm to another innocent life. As the trial came to a close, the impact of this tragic case lingered in the hearts and minds of the community. The scars left by the mistaken identity and the senseless murder of Thomas Daniels would take time to heal. Yet, through the pursuit of justice, the community found strength and unity, vowing to remember Thomas's legacy and the importance of cherishing the lives of those around them. In the aftermath of the shocking case of mistaken identity that unfolded in Jacksonville, Florida, in August of 1986, the lives of those involved were forever altered. The impact of the tragic events reverberated through the community, leaving a lasting mark on the suspects, police officers, and family members. Janice Daniels, the wife of the victim Thomas Daniels, struggled to find a sense of normalcy after the trial concluded. She sought solace in the support of her family and friends, including her lover, Edna Hampton, who rallied around her during this difficult time. Janice, a woman of strong faith, turned to her church community for comfort and guidance, finding solace in the sermons and prayers offered by her fellow churchgoers. Detective Roscoe, the lead investigator in the case, reflected on the relentless pursuit of justice that consumed his team. Despite the challenges they faced, they remained dedicated to uncovering the truth and bringing the perpetrator to justice. The detective, known for his unwavering determination, found solace in the support of his colleagues and the satisfaction of a job well done. In November of 1986, as the leaves began to change and the summer heat gave way to a cooler breeze, the community slowly began to heal. The wounds left behind by this tragic case of mistaken identity would take time to mend. But with the support of loved ones and the passage of time, a sense of normalcy would eventually return. The case of mistaken identity, turns deadly, serves as a grim reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences that can arise from a single moment of mistaken judgment. Join us next time as we continue to unravel the mysteries that haunt our society, shedding light on the darkest corners of humanity.
Hey, true crime case solvers, interested in more real-life murder mysteries? Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And do you have any thoughts about this case or have a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe, true crime case solvers.